firing fireworks off their car and so on, and they're moving around. Well, with this, if it's totally illegal, all you gotta do is get the license plate off the vehicle and turn it into the DA. And the same thing with, you know, if somebody's in their property and they see one going off, like I said, the DA already said he would take care of it, but he's not going to, you know, he'll have officers around and everything, but you just report the incident back to the DA and they'll decide on, you know, whether or not to find the person or whatever. To me, it's the way to go.
Makes sense to be able to do something.
Yeah.
We don't have anything else, we'll take public comment. Dan, anything else from the board? How was the public comment? Yes.
My name's Pat.
Come out to the lectern and sign in.
Here to go to the podium. Oh, I have to go.
Yes.
Oh, I have to go up there. Okay. All right.
Please sign in on the sheet that's on the lectern.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Pat Murphy. I have lived here since 1993, and I am ashamed to admit this is the first meeting I've ever come to.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. I absolutely oppose fireworks. It's a bloody nightmare at my house. And when my husband was alive for his PTSD, which he didn't have a lot of, but yeah. I lived 2 doors down from the fire on K Street. And there were, I stayed in bed a little longer, but my neighbors were out there, at least this one that took the video. And there were fireworks everywhere, and mortar. Now I have no idea what started that fire, I'm really curious, but there were fireworks, and lots of them. And it was not a pleasant experience. So I'm pleased that this is happening. And I know that there are people in San Miguel that are absolutely having, you know, a fit over it, but I am happy as can be, and I wanted to let you know that. Like you said, and this gentleman said, Mr. Petty said that, you know, certainly it's not going to stop all the fireworks, but if we don't start somewhere, it's going to get worse. I mean, something's burning down here, and that is not appropriate. So, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I need to say one more thing. I love the fire department. They have helped me so many times, and this isn't, I know there's some internal stuff going on, but they need to be here, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Any other public comments?
Too much, sorry. Just for clarification, I know the attorney has explained this, but just so that I understand it, if this emergency resolution or ordinance or whatever you want to call it passes tonight, there will be no legal fireworks on 4th of July. Is that correct?
Within the jurisdiction of the district, that's correct.
Very good. Okay. So if you don't pass this resolution, there will be safe and sane fireworks will be legal to be used in the district. Is that correct?
The current ordinance could be challenged to state that, and you would have a difficult time having the sheriff and the DA actually enforce what is currently in effect.
So if we want the best enforcement possible for one day, to give the sheriff's department and whatever law enforcement agency is going to be around the opportunity to make a difference in San Miguel for one day, which we can recover from year. If it doesn't change anything, if nothing happens, if everybody hates it, everything remains the same, we go back to business as usual next year. Let's give it a chance, try something different. Scott believes that no fireworks are legal in San Miguel right now, so he spent a lot of time trying to make San Miguel safe. He's very consistent in passing ordinances and building new standards and exceeding the state's requirements for different things to keep San Miguel safe. He's not objecting to you banning the fireworks. He's just not sure about how his ordinance holds up under the law, and there seems to be a dispute with the attorney. Let's just clarify it. Let's just have no fireworks this year. Fire department's going to be happy. I can't think of a fire department in the world that would be unhappy with no fireworks in the city. No incidents, no fireworks. And if there are incidents, you'll have less. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have additional public comment.
I'm Kathy Schooter. So it's only on July 4th. So what happened 2 nights ago, that nothing will change with that. Is that correct?
They were illegal prior. Only fireworks that were legal were safe and sane on the 4th of July. But by passing this would give us more ability to enforce and give the district attorney the ability to punish people for violating the law.
Okay, so if they were to catch somebody, they would, before that date, nothing could be done?
It's case by case basis.
That wasn't real, it was like picking one day, so it just, because like that other fireworks was close to my house.
All fireworks, from what I understand, are illegal. Current or how they were last year, all fireworks are illegal to light except for permitted on July 4th. So July 3rd and July 5th, it's still illegal, no matter what. So currently how it was written was July 4th was the only day that they were allowed to be lit. And so the mortars getting shot off on Thanksgiving, every other Thursday of the month, all that's illegal.
Do you have any additional public comment?
Leanna Morales. I have a quick question for you both. Is this being translated to the Spanish community? Because our community is based on Hispanics. It's well known. Is any of this being translated to them so they are aware that they cannot shoot off safe and sane fireworks on 4th of July?
That's actually a question for Kelly or tomorrow. Translation service.
I mean, we only have 2 weeks. We only have 2 weeks left. Is our board members going to go door to door letting your people know that they can't let them off? They're predominantly Spanish-speaking people. I mean, where do they stand? They're going to get in trouble because they weren't informed? We have 2 weeks left. And the other night, motors were going off till 1 in the morning. They weren't even safe and sane. The Templeton fire wasn't even a safe and sane. So I don't see what the big deal is over safe and sane. Motors are gonna go off. They were going off the other night till 1 in the morning. I mean, I don't know what you guys wanna do. Safe and sane. To get rid of safe and sane is not the issue. It's the illegals. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional public comment?
John McClure. Item 4, prohibiting illegal fireworks. I'm not happy with the safe and sane being permitted here since '98. We have my kids and my grandkids. I can have sparklers. I can light off fireworks in front of the driveway. But now I can't do that. I've got to take the test. But illegal ones, the mortars and everything is outrageous. My dog goes nuts. The other night, it was after midnight, they were going off. So, I don't see why the safety things were omitted from San Miguel, but I'm for them, but I'm against the illegal ones being used anytime. Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, before and after 4th of July. They're nuts. And it is a war zone here on the 4th of July. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good evening, board.
No.
Jenny Nick. I just wanted to come up and say that I'm for safe and sane fireworks. I'm sure the community at large can all agree that we're all against the mortars. That's not what's at hand. You're taking away, yes, a tradition. I'm sorry to use that word because I know that we've already said in the sake of tradition. On what is our 250th year anniversary of our country. My deepest empathy goes out to the veterans and to the pets who don't understand and will never understand. I come from a very long line of military background family, and that is how we celebrate as well. It is just like anybody else out there grilling the hot dogs, and at night we have gone to military bases and done fireworks shows for a few weeks leading up to 4th of July so that we could be home with our family doing the same tradition. One of the things that brings people to San Miguel is that it is a legal thing that you can do. Again, safe and sane. How it will impact if people can't go to Templeton and buy them, we don't know. You've already taken that right away from us by taking it away from the Fire Department Association. I just want to remind you that you're impacting your constituents. I understand that half you guys weren't even voted in, you just walked into your positions, but those will be your constituents that will be voting in November or even running against you for your open seats coming up. I don't say that as a threat, I'm just saying you're impacting a lot of people with your decisions in haste, in trying to mitigate mortars, but you're punishing the people who are doing things legally by your decisions. So again, my empathy out to all veterans and pets that are out there and the livestock that keeps getting mentioned that wasn't even in our district, but don't punish the actual citizens following the law.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
We do have 2 written public comments. If there's no other in person.
Okay, let's go to written.
The first one is, dear board, over the past week, San Miguel has had several large fires. The next night, people were setting off aerial fireworks. Reports were a group of 13-year-olds off K and 15th Street. Templeton lost a beautiful historic building that used to tower over the town. What a shame it's gone. I don't want that for San Miguel. We obviously have a problem with voters aerial fireworks here. What are the plans for the C.S.D. Fire Department and the sheriffs to prevent this? There is a divide between those who live in a quiet and safe town and those who say it's their freedom to blow things up. The sheriff said during the 07-24-25 meeting that teenagers were launching them, but because of the Templeton fire, she had to stop getting their information and run there. Over 200 calls to the sheriff's fireworks last 4th of July for San Miguel, overwhelming the 911 calls for life and death emergencies. I was really worried about the structures were going to be impacted, she said. Last year, the fire chief decided not to go confiscate fireworks due to an enhanced threat of potential risk to firefighters, and I agree, it's dangerous. We took 100 launches off the street in 2024 versus 0 in 2025, he said. There are many people in the local social media groups who said that they will be lighting off more this year. It would be more helpful, or be helpful, if the CSD directed the fire chief to publicly come out and ask the community to not light fireworks, because it endangers his firefighters and our community. I personally want what is best for San Miguel. I want what is safe from the increased fire that has put the firefighters in danger. I agree with the fire chief. I think the sheriff needs to enforce it more and not let those criminals keep putting us all in danger. Maybe the sheriff and the fire chief can do a PSA together. That would be a good look for both. In the CSD, do a little video like other communities have done. That would be a great PR. Sadly, what will happen when the garage blows up from storing these explosives, if the firefighters are putting out a house fire and a stockpile of motors, explosives go off, that could seriously hurt them. Then he will be able to take their spot as they heal, or worse. I support the firefighters. They put their lives on the line every day. For the record, I have no issues with firefighters or the fire department. Why would some members of our own town want to endanger their lives more? I know this vote is about safe and sane fireworks, but I think if we do not have them being lit off, then the sheriffs can do their job and find those setting off the dangerous ones. Almost here. So close. Again, Shauna, San Miguel.
Thank you.
The second one is, hello again, I would like can someone please tell me why Ashley Owen and legal counsel created this ban on sparklers that under section 4 includes jailing families for up to a year for each sparkler they own. If a person has a leftover sparkler from last year, now they're a criminal, that is wrong. Also, Owen needs to resign from the board. His letter demanding the urgency ordinance is signed by an Owen Davies, not Davis. The E is not even close to anything on the keyboard. If a board member cannot remember their own name, how can they make the decision for our town? Unless somebody wrote it for him, or perhaps Gregory Campbell wrote it, the man with the illegal building downtown, and the genius who proposed shutting down the fire department in the first place. Vote no on this ordinance. Jay Branham, San Miguel resident. That is all public comment.
Thank you. Again, I think that this is a public safety issue. I think what it really kind of comes down to is whether we want to give the sheriff and the district attorney the ability to punish people who are using safe and sane fireworks or traditionally illegal fireworks such as mortars and everything else, which are typically responsible for starting on fires. Again, our Firefighters Association is not gaining financially by having safe and sane fireworks in town. I'm all for providing any tool that we can provide to law enforcement, to our firefighters, to the district attorney to put a dent in the use of fireworks in this community. They're an inherent danger to fire life safety of people, animals, veterans. I mean, the list goes on. And I think if we don't pass this, we'll be doing an incredible disservice to the members of this community. With that said, I would like to motion that we approve this emergency ordinance. And I would also like to ask that if it is approved, that we send messaging to the community indicating it's been approved. All fireworks are illegal on July 4th. There will be enforcement. And it needs to be going out in English and Spanish, and that the sheriff's office and district attorney would be handling any use or people discovered using fireworks.
So just as a reminder, in addition to approving, all four of you must also vote that you find that there is an urgency and a threat to the public health and safety, and that is why this ordinance is required. So I would ask that as part of any motion to approve, it also include that specific finding.
I would add to my motion that the board have the specific finding that there is an urgent need to pass this ordinance. Does that qualify?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you say it again?
I added to my motion that I'm making this motion, passing this urgency ordinance based on the identified urgency in the community for fire life safety.
Yes, that works.
Okay.
So we have a motion by Director Sangster. We have a second.
I second it.
We have a second by Director Davis.
Director Davis,
Yes.
Director Beatty,
Abstain.
Directors Smiley,
No.
Director Sangster.
Yes.
So it fails 2, 1, 1.
1. 2 on 1.
2, 1, 1, 1.
Yes. I wrote it down.
There's some other motion that you think you would be willing to approve this on? Have a motion.
I think it's a waste of time personally. I don't really feel like this is, you know, we have to go out, you know, out of our way and create more work for staff and this is a, you know, an emergency for public health, fire safety. I don't see it being, sorry.
Yeah.
Good evening again. It is my intent to do community outreach and to let the public know that all fireworks are illegal in San Miguel. And as a result of the vote that happened last month, this ordinance kind of, you know, pushed my process back a little bit. But there will be some community engagement and work with the Sheriff's Department. We do have some large banners that we put up. The banners are going to have to be reviewed and possibly rebuilt, remade, because I believe that they might have use of Save the St. Fireworks, but that kind of engagement is going to still happen, and there'll be some announcements on social media and posters. We're going to do everything we can to assure that the community is as safe as can be, as always. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, well, with that, we'll, at least we tried to do something for you guys. We'll move on to board action items. Award contract to Wallace Group, Inc. for an amount not to exceed $1,950,000 for construction management services for Machado wastewater treatment facility upgrade and expansion per the RFP by resolution.
Thank you. This is, again, to authorize the general manager to execute an administrative contract with Wallace Group Incorporated for construction management services for the Machado wastewater treatment facility in an amount not to exceed $1,950,000 by resolution. The board authorized the release of an RFP for construction management for the Machado wastewater treatment facility upgrade expansion, which was scheduled to begin later this year. The RFP, which is included in this packet, was distributed to all known interested parties, local plan rooms, and the state clearinghouse in accordance with district policies. 5 firms attended the pre-bid meeting on March 11th, and 4 firms submitted proposals by April 10th, which was the deadline. Following review of the submitted proposals and qualifications, all 4 firms were deemed responsive and capable of providing the required services. Interviews were conducted with each firm to evaluate and propose project staff, their understanding of the project, and their approach to managing similar projects, and basically how they would apply that knowledge to our project. Each firm participated in interviews with the personnel who would be assigned to our project, which was a requirement for them. Discussions focused on anticipated project challenges, coordination with the state for reimbursement, required reporting, and lessons learned from similar projects. All firms demonstrated the experience and management capabilities necessary for a project of this size and complexity, as well as the ability to scale staffing as needed. Each firm also committed to assigning consistent staff, ensuring continuity and minimizing turnover for the construction manager on site. This provides the district with confidence that the on-site personnel will remain familiar with project conditions and progress throughout construction. RFP divided construction management services into 4 primary tasks: pre-bid and pre-construction phase, construction outreach, construction phase, and project closeout. while the Wallace Group and Water Systems Consulting included additional scope and cost estimates identified as task 0 for construction management services related to the service and switchboard installation contract with Electrocraft. Due to the timing of the RFP, this work was not included in the original scope, but was discussed as a potential addition during the pre-bid meeting. The remaining 2 firms did not provide detailed estimates of this work and instead proposed completing it on a time and materials basis without a defined level of effort. BKF submitted additional scope and cost estimates for environmental monitoring and compliance as a task 5, as well as labor compliance as a task 6. However, the district is currently under contract with SWCA to provide environmental monitoring and compliance services for the entire project, including service and switchgear, monitoring wells, and solar components. While BKF's proposal separates labor compliance as a distinct task, Wallace Group indicates labor compliance services, or includes labor compliance services within its base proposal. Based on the evaluation of proposals and interviews, staff recommends awarding construction management contract to Wallace Group for the Machado wastewater treatment plant facility upgrade and expansion project, including the service and switchgear components. Based on their qualifications and the district's prior experience with the firm, Wallace Group is considered the best fit for this project. Fee proposals were subsequently reviewed and compared 3 firms, including the optional tasks 0, 5, and 6. However, 5 and 6 were excluded from consideration as the services are already being provided under separate contracts or addressed within the RFP scope. Costs for the tasks 1 through 4 required services are shown from the lowest to highest below. So Wallace Group itself was $1,860,759. Hydroscience was $1,897,414. BKF was $1,903,888. And Water Systems Consulting was $2,661,013. Wallace Group, including a task 0, was $1.9 million. And Water Systems Consulting, also including a task 0, was $2,699,885. Staff's recommending the board approve contract with Wallace Group for construction management services. Wallace Group has successfully completed numerous projects of similar size and complexity, including projects involving Placina package plant systems, including the one at Cal Poly. The firm has demonstrated its ability to dedicate the necessary staff to meet the project schedule. Additionally, as project design engineer, Wallace Group provides additional value by streamlining coordination for design changes during construction, which may result in time and cost savings to the district. It's further recommended that the board approve both the base contract, tasks 1 through 4, and task 0. This approach supports effective project delivery from the outset and reduces the need for additional district staff and engineering resources related to the service and switchgear work, allowing staff to focus on other priorities. The proposed construction management cost is eligible for reimbursement under the executed CW SRF construction grant. The total proposed amount of $1,950,000 is within the $4,884,000 budget allocated for soft costs in the grant application that would be reimbursed based on the actual cost incurred. It is recommended that the board adopt the attached resolution authorizing the general manager to execute contract with Wallace Group Incorporated in the amount of $1,950,000 for construction management services tasks 1 through 4 as defined in the RFP and task 0 as defined in their proposal. Again, this is part of the overall construction project. As we discussed previously, all costs related to the construction management are directly reimbursable. So it's at the end of the project, it's a net 0 because we are less than 50% of what the projected cost was for this work. That extra grant funding can go towards other activities at the treatment plant if we start running over on some of the other costs due to inflation or time delay issues.
Okay, thank you. To your point, funding going to other elements of the treatment plant. Excellent that the money moves elsewhere, but first question would be, Since it's an RFP, where we can award to best value, it's a public agency. So it's not limited to the lowest bidder. However, when you're making an award, have you already sent notification or notice to award or not yet?
No, we have to wait for board approval before we can move it.
So do we ever engage in the practice of submitting or sending an intent to negotiate an award?
So we don't normally do that. Generally, when we're going through this process, in this process, and part of the interview that I had with these firms was where we could potentially either see additional value by doing a different activity, or what in the proposal was in the proposal, but they didn't think was necessary. There is a lot of things that were in the proposal for community outreach, a blanket item to make sure that we had enough fund in that item specifically, but they were based on doing additional outreach that may not be necessary. So in that particular case, it probably wouldn't be a huge savings, but it is some savings. In working with the Walls Group, or in discussion with the Walls Group, rather, we have identified different avenues that we can take to reduce cost. So this is a not to exceed, but it's still based on time. So
I get that. I understand what you're saying. But what my question is, you could initiate a negotiation with the expectation that we're not going to be reducing the scope. I mean, that reducing the scope, obviously we would pay less based on what that scope might be. So to change exactly what we're getting, of course, it would affect what we're paying. But my question is, and it's, anytime you're running an RFP and you're making an award, there's an expectation, typically on the other side, that you're going to negotiate before you award. And whether that's reducing the price, added value, whatever that might be, but that's typically the expectation, as opposed to you bid $1,950,000, we're good, we can just make the award. I'm just asking, I'm just putting my procurement hat on and saying that, in my experience, they expect us to negotiate. If we're not, we are potentially leaving some money on the table.
So if I can address that briefly, the procurement requirements for a small local agency like the C.S.D. are much more restrictive than procurement requirements for the state, in that if we were to negotiate with any of the bidders that resulted in a lower value project, we would be required to go out to bid again in order to give the opportunity to any other contractors who would have bid had the value been lower, or if those changes had occurred. So it's much more restrictive on local public agencies than it is on state agencies. The state has a lot more flexibility in negotiation than we do.
So when a proposing company is
For public works projects.